Welcome back, everybody. Now that we've talked about scalar multiplication and how to add and subtract matrices together, we're going to talk about how to solve some simple equations. So these are going to be equations where we're going to have a variable x, and that variable x actually represents a matrix. And so our solution is not just going to be one number, it's actually going to be a matrix x, and we're trying to find out which matrix x satisfies this equation. And we're going to use scalar multiplication and then addition and subtraction of matrices to do this. So let's say, for example, we have the matrix A, which is a 2 by 2 matrix. We'll say 2, 3, -1, and 5. And we have the matrix B, which is also going to be a 2 by 2 matrix. Okay, in order for A and B to add and subtract together, they need to both be the same size. So we're going to have B be a 2 by 2 matrix as well. And we could have B as the matrix -1, 3, 4, and 10. There you go. So we have A and B as 2 by 2 matrices. And so we could set up an equation that looks something like this. Maybe it's 2 times x plus 4 times A equals -3 times B. And the way that we're going to solve this is actually just like the way that we're going to solve an equation normally in algebra. So we could take a look at this and say, well, 4 times A, we could figure out exactly what 4 times A is by just taking the matrix A and multiplying all the components by 4. We could multiply all the components in B by -3. And so what we're going to end up with, and we could do that by hand, but that's going to be a little bit more work for ourselves. What we're going to do here is we're actually going to just get x all by itself first, and then whatever we have on the other side, we're going to plug into our calculator, because our calculator is going to do a lot of the work for us, a lot of the addition and subtraction of matrices and the scalar multiplication. So to get x by itself, we know that you would normally say, well, I'm going to subtract 4a. And so we're going to do that again here. We're going to say, let's subtract 4a from both sides. That's going to leave us with 2 times the matrix x equals -3b minus 4a. Now, we haven't talked about division yet. And we won't talk about division. I think I accidentally misspoke on the first video and said something about division. But when we talk about matrices, there is no such thing as division. However, when you have a scalar like 2, you can get rid of the 2. I mean, we would think of it as dividing by 2, but another way of thinking about getting rid of this 2 here is to say, let's multiply both sides. Let's not divide both sides by 2. Let's multiply both sides by 1/2. So we're going to take both sides of the equation here and we're going to multiply by 1/2. Okay, and just like normally would happen, you're going to have the 2 on top, the 2 on bottom cancel each other out. And on the left side, you're going to be just left with an x. On the right side, you're going to be left with a 1/2 times -3b minus 4a. And then you can actually use distribution here. Okay, so we can use distribution the same way that we would normally want to use distribution. We're going to distribute the 1/2 into both of the pieces in the parentheses, and the 1/2 is just going to multiply by the -3 and by the -4. So we're going to get -3/2 times b minus 4/2, which is just 2. So we'll just say -2 times a. So now that we've solved for x in this equation, we can use our calculator to find the exact matrix that x should be. So to do that, you're going to have to have watched the calculator instructions on how to type matrices into the calculator and how to do operations with them. So we're going to go to our matrices in our calculator. We're going to type in A first. A is a 2 by 2 matrix, and we're going to just type in the original A. It looks like 2, 3, -1, and 5. And then we're going to type in B, and B is going to also be a 2 by 2 matrix, and B looks like -1, 3, 4, and then 10. So we have A and B typed in, and remember that x then looks like -3/2 times B minus 2 times A. So we can just type in let's do parentheses -3 divided by 2, and then times B the parentheses really aren't necessary there, but that's okay. Negative 3 over 2 times b, and then minus 2 times a. Now when we do this, we're going to get our matrix X, that's our solution. Okay, so it's going to look like this. Now, these are pretty easy decimals to take a look at, negative 2.5 and negative 10.5. There's actually a way also to take our decimals and to turn them all into fractions. So the way that we're going to do that is by, notice this math button right here. Let's say we have a matrix that has decimals in it. We're going to hit the math button, and then option number 1 says frac, F-R-A-C. And we're going to hit enter, and then we're going to hit enter again, and it's going to just give us the same matrix, but just with fractions instead of decimals. So that means that X, our solution matrix, is X equals negative 5 over 2 up in the left, negative 21 over 2 in the right, negative 4, and negative 25. And you could actually check this, because if you plug in this matrix X into the original equation, you're actually going to get, and you do the scalar multiplication with all those, you're going to get a true equation where the left side does equal the right side, and that just says that we got the right answer, the right matrix for X. Okay? So we can solve these equations the same way that we would normally solve them. We just need to be careful. Instead of thinking about dividing by the scalar that's with the x, in this case the 2, we're going to just multiply by the reciprocal because we know what multiplication looks like with matrices, but we haven't talked about, and we won't talk about, there's no such thing as division with matrices. Okay, thanks for checking this out.